There's a reason why the crocodile is the ticking and the clock, and it's because Hook is really afraid that time is running out, and he knows that time can run out at any point. So he fears time, and the end. That's his greatest fear. Uh, and the Lost Boys, being in Neverland, are afraid of growing up because that means that time has to pass. So the real nemesis between both Hook and Peter are time is one of those things that happens in a young man, because in a young man, you want all the time in the world, and you realize that as you get older, that if you have responsibilities, you don't actually have as much time as you used to anymore. And a lot of middle-aged men miss that, when it's like, man, I had so much time on my hands. But then you have Captain Hook, who's on the other side of that spectrum, where he's saying, time is running out and I need to find something, otherwise time can get me. And there's a reason why it's crocodile, because crocodiles lurk in the water. You never really know when they're going to strike, and there's a symbolism in that. um, in the movie, Hook, one of the big scenes when Peter goes to meet with Wendy, and Jack's there, and he's saying, my dad, I think he said he was like a lawyer, and he said he blows him out of the water. And Wendy's realizing very quickly, because she's like, Peter, you've become a pirate, because in the beginning of the movie, the Peter Banning, who's played by Robin Williams, he is so engulfed into his work, he's not paying attention to his kids. He doesn't have a strong relationship with them. He's actually become kind of the symbolism of a pirate in his family's life. And Jack represents kind of being that lost boy. He's starting to become lost. He's starting to feel estranged from his dad, and he's frustrated, and he wants to have that attention. And so the whole time there's this relationship between Peter and his son Jack that is really what Peter's trying to save. Because although his sister his daughter as well gets stolen, she's never at risk of losing herself in Neverland, which I'll get to in a little bit. But Peter essentially becomes a pirate in the movie Hook, and it shows that Peter and Hook are not too different. They're actually very much the same person in very different parts of their lives. But Wendy and even Maggie are, Peter's wife, Wendy, and even his daughter. The women in the whole story of Peter Pan and in the movie Hook, the women symbolize purpose. They symbolize the pulling back down and grounding you to who you need to become, and it puts purpose behind the responsibility that you're going to have as a man as you grow up and as you take on responsibility. But it grounds you to the meaning and the purpose behind that responsibility. There's a lot of privilege that comes with that responsibility of being a father, of helping somebody and raising somebody, that the Lost Boys nor the pirates ever could understand. And so you see that in the Peter Pan animation film, Wendy is constantly that voice of reason, and she's constantly drawing her brothers and even Peter back to reality. She's bringing them back in time, because she's what's helping them realize that, yes, time will pass, but time can be very purposeful and intentional, and it can bring a lot of transformation in the process. She plays that role in the animated film. And then in the movie Hook, I believe it's Maggie is the daughter's name. She also is always reminding Jack as a sister, saying, Jack, come back. We have a mom, we have a dad. Dad's going to come save us. And she never wavers from that experience. And even Wendy, who's old at the time of Hook, she is also drawing Peter back. I mean, that's when in the beginning of the movie, she tries to explain to him, like, there's something going wrong, but you don't remember. Let me help remind you why this is even happening. And even Peter doesn't believe it at the beginning, thinks she's crazy. But this is kind of where what Wendy and Maggie and Peter's wife represent, is that drawn to purpose. Because a man can conquer the world, they can move mountains, but that doesn't bring a lot of purpose. And many CEOs and many people who in leadership will say that, like, if they're not tied to that kind of purpose, all of it feels empty. There's no reason behind it. I mean, you can only make so much money before it starts to feel like, what's the point? Like, I have all the money, I have more than what I'll ever spend in my life. You have to find this purpose, and that's the antidote to both Peter and the Lost Boys, who are afraid of growing up, and the pirates, who are afraid that time is running out. That that time will move on, but intention and purpose and meaning has to be rooted in time.